Hey everyone, I am back. J. Allen Hull here to help break the monotony of your seclusion, as it were. Anyhow, I wanted to continue. Yesterday, I talked about rest. I talked about the different concepts of really being intentional with your time off. And the next tip that I want to give you about being intentional is what I like to call daily rituals. Some people call them daily habits or daily routines. I call them daily rituals. And what this really means, I know a lot of people, they get freaked out by the word ritual. But what we're really talking about here is creating a set of steps that you take in sequence every day. And I have four. So I'll this might make more sense if I tell you what not my four rituals, but my four periods of time are. So I have my morning ritual, which starts from the moment I wake up and continues on until basically 9 o'clock in the morning when I take my nap. Then I have my workday startup ritual, which starts after I wake up from my nap. I have steps that I take to start my workday. Then I have my workday shutdown ritual, which typically happens whenever my workday shut down. But for example, let's say it was I stopped working at 5 p.m. So I'd start my workday shutdown ritual at 4 p.m. And then I have my evening ritual. So which is I start that I start that about 6 o'clock, and that goes until bedtime. And so what this means is it's a pattern. Becomes a habit. So I don't even have to think. And what this does is a couple things. One, it saves on energy. And you go, how does that save energy? Well, it saves on energy because one, my brain doesn't have to think about it. I don't have to think, what's the next step? What do I need to do? In fact, I find when I don't stick to my rituals, if I sleep in the morning or something like that, I don't do my normal ritual, my normal routine, I actually do feel tireder. And it's because I'm using more brain power thinking, okay, what's the next thing I've got to do? Which also means I use more, body energy. I use more energy from my body because I'm not moving as efficiently or smoothly. See, once you get into a pattern, into a routine, you get what's called muscle memory. And so your body just slips right into this routine. You wake up, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you brush your beard, you do, you whatever your morning steps are, you move to the next step, shower or shave, whatever. Don't shave, guys, just keep your beard. In spite of what they say about the coronavirus. Anyhow, the point is you get into a routine. And so I'm actually going to share with you my morning routine so that you understand like how you can build this and how it becomes second nature. And I don't even have to think about it. You go, oh man, you wake up at 4 a.m. How are you even thinking? Well, you're right. I'm really not. And so I have this routine and I just go through it and step by step, and now it's just habit. And when I actually get out of this routine is when it causes more of brain fog, more energy wasted, and I feel more tired throughout the day versus actually getting up early and sticking to it. So let me go through my routines. Let me grab my planner. Again, that's something I love about the Full Focus Planner from Michael Hyatt. And I'll put a link below the video, but it allows you to create these routines and to write them down so that your daily rituals, and to write them down so that you can create you can have them there to review while you're getting used to getting into this habit. So for me, from 4 to 4:20 in the morning, I wake up at 4 a.m. and for the first 20 minutes, it's bathroom things, brushing hair, brushing teeth, brushing beard, taking my morning medications, whatever that might be. That includes checking my blood sugars, taking insulin that I need. And then from 4:20 to about 4:50 is meditation. And I meditate for about a half hour. Sometimes it's guided, sometimes it's not. And so that's what I do for the next 30 minutes. Then from about 4:50 to about 7 a.m. So from 4:50 to 7 a.m. is my personal scripture study, my daily devotion. And that's where, and I should mention that before I meditate, I also pray. So that's slipped in there as well. So there's a prayer, meditation, and then my daily scripture study for about an hour and 10 minutes thereabouts. So then at 7 o'clock, I do a personal enrichment training. And a lot of times that's online courses that I've enrolled in, or it might be reading one of the personal development books for an hour, or a couple of personal development books. But it's a personal enrichment hour, basically, from 7 to 8 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock, I go up and I have breakfast with my family, and that's typically 8 to 8:30. And then at 8:30, we have family scripture study, and that's from 8:30 to 9. And then at 9 o'clock, I come back down and I have a nap. And so by the time I, get everything ready and set up, it turns into about a 40-minute nap. And then when I wake up, I immediately jump into the next ritual, which is my workday startup. Okay. Now, if it's not a work day, if it's a weekend or I'm taking the day off, then morning ritual done, and I don't need to worry about workday startup. But my workday startup is about an hour. And first thing I do is I pray, and I spend the first half hour in writing in my journal and planning. And so again, journal writing is important to me. It's baked into the day. So I write about the events of the previous day. I think about the things I'm grateful for. I start the day thinking about those. I write down what I'm grateful for. And write down my big wins from the previous day. Things to start me off on a positive note. And then also any planning that I might need to do, to finalize or go through my schedule, go through my goals that I have written down in here, go through all of those things that are important to me. Then for the next 30 minutes, I split the time between checking email and social media. So I hop on, I check the email. If that takes me 5 or 10 minutes, if there's not a lot that I have to respond to, then I hop on social media, maybe post a few things, share a few things, respond to people that have commented, whatever the case might be. And that's the end of my workday startup. So the first hour of my workday is planned. I know exactly what I'm doing. It gets me started on a positive note, on a positive foot, and then I'm ready to go. And then I go throughout the rest of the day. I guess you could say I have a mini ritual during lunch, which is I take lunch at noon. I have a half hour and then of lunch, and then I go with Mindy. We check the mail because we don't get street delivery where we live. We're too small of a town. And so I go and I check the mail, and then maybe go for a little ride if we have some time, and then I'm back by 1 so I can start the next phase of whatever it is I'm doing. Then workday shutdown. Basically, it also is about an hour. And I start that by, first thing I do is I do a final check of email and social media, anything that I need to do. By the way, by the time workday shutdown comes around, I've already shut off my phones and don't have any meetings, don't have anything. So that way I'm not getting interrupted. I'm not getting last minute. At this point, if you're contacting me during this time, it's just going to have to wait till tomorrow, because there's nothing I deal with that's so outrageously important that it has to be that minute. So I check email, social media again. Then I do that for about 15 minutes. And then for the next 15 minutes, I plan for the next day, write down the things, move whatever I didn't get accomplished today on my to-do list over, which is usually very little because I normally get everything done. Plan out my tomorrow's big 3 priorities or goals that I have to get done to move forward in work, and plan out the day. And then I meditate for 25 minutes at the end of work, to give myself, again, kind of a calming and recenter before I go and rejoin my family. And then I say a prayer to end the day and to thank my Father in heaven for everything that has happened that day and that I've been given. And so that's my workday shutdown ritual. It takes about an hour. Now, my evening ritual it starts about 6 o'clock, and that starts with, of course, getting the kids ready for bed, right? That's the first thing. And I know you go, 6 o'clock, getting kids ready for bed, that's insane. No, our kids literally want to go to bed by 6 o'clock. So it's a routine that they've gotten into, that we've gotten into, and it works. And so that's what our family does. And so by 6:30, usually between 6:30 and 7, the kids are in bed, like asleep. So they're done for the day. There's no coming in and out. And then, Mindy and I do some couples planning. If we need to, we go over whatever schedules or whatever events are going on the next day, so that again we're on the same page. And we'll do some couples prayer, couples scripture study together, and then bedtime preparations start about 7:30 and by or 7:45, and by around 8 o'clock, usually I'm in bed. Sometime between 8 and 9. Sometimes it's a little bit later, depends on how much time I want to stay up with Mindy. But basically, that becomes bedtime around 8, and I'm in bed and I fall asleep. And then so those are my rituals, and the reason why I love them is because they're so ingrained. And again, they're written out here in this planner, but they're so ingrained in me that I don't have to think at 4 a.m. I just whatever, I look at my watch and I go, oh, it's 5, it's 10 to 5. So that means scripture stuff. Like it's there. I don't have to think about it. I just move forward. And then of course there's also the shower and cleanup part of everything. That's a different part of my day. That's actually not part of my ritual, because sometimes it happens later in the day. Sometimes it happens earlier. It just kind of depends on how the day's going. But again, if it's part of your ritual, feel free to write it down and get it in there, and give yourself a time, and then try to stick to that time. Is it 10 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? Is it a half hour? Is it an hour? Whatever it might be. So that's really, again, another way to maximize your time. Try to get that in place now. If you're home from work, if you're taking time off, if you're laid off, I hope that's not the case, but use your time to actually feel like you're being productive. I promise, as you implement rituals into your day, you are going to feel so much more productive. You're going to feel so much more accomplished just by getting those things done and making sure that at the end of the day, hey, I got a lot of stuff done. And you start the day off on the right foot. You start you end the day on the right foot, and you have a lot that's just done automatically because it's just programmed into your brain and your body. So again, when it comes to your energy levels, daily rituals definitely helps, puts you on automatic, and it's going to, again, if you manage your energy, then the time management is a piece of cake. And so if you can manage your energy in the morning, your workday startup, again, focusing so that you don't get to work and it's just like crazy, like, if again, you let people know the first hour that I'm here, the first 20 minutes or the first half hour, you can't bother me because this is what I'm doing. That's the other thing. Let me just point out, make your rituals sacred. Okay. What I mean by that, again, I'm using religious language, but I think it's because it's more powerful and people understand it a lot better, even if they're not religious. Make it sacred, meaning you tell your coworkers, don't knock on my door for the first 30 minutes. I have to do this. Or else I'll never get through these emails, or I'll never get the day started right, or whatever the case might be. Again, my family knows my rituals, and then they have their rituals, right? They've got their schedule and the things that they do, that Mindy has put the kids on. And I know it sounds like we're running a military camp, but honestly, it makes for a much happier, much smoother day when the rituals and the routines are adhered to. The kids love routines. Kids love structure. And when you give them that, they might fight at first because they think they don't. But once you give them that, oh my goodness, do they love it? They absolutely do. And they feel accomplished and they feel good, and it helps you and it helps them. So don't be afraid of this, and don't be afraid of telling people from this time to this time, you can't bother me. And again, season of life and where you're at. Out of my home, but I work out of my home. I think people mistake that. They think, oh, because you're working from home that, well, you get to just, you can do whatever. You don't have to. No, I have to treat it like work. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And nothing gets accomplished. And so don't mistake that when somebody says they work from home that, well, they can just do things willy-nilly. The point is they have to still adhere to certain things. So they know I have a schedule. They know I have a work schedule. They know I have routines. I know they have a schedule. I know that I can count on that if I want to do something in the middle of the day, that they're probably going to be doing this or that, and that things need to happen first. So by doing that too, again, we don't get crossed wires. We don't have issues of, well, I thought that you'd be free, so I would do this, or I'm going to, it just makes for a much happier, smoother life. Try to implement them, make them sacred. And whether it's just 5 minutes, as a stay-at-home mom, your morning ritual may be 10 minutes if you're lucky, right? But do the best you can, and remember the season of life you're in. So don't get frustrated. Don't think, oh man, Josh has 4 hours, I need to plan for it. Don't compare yourself. Create the rituals that are helpful to you, that get you going, that you can, things that you can put on autopilot, and then just do them and stick to them. And by doing that, I promise you'll have a much happier, much smoother life. And once we get past all this craziness, if you continue it, it'll increase your productivity. You'll be able to do more in less time, and give you the freedom to truly start living and stop just existing, right? And that's our goal. So I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully that was helpful. Feel free to click the link below to the Full Focus Planner, as well as the Best Year Ever book that really goes in depth into these things by Michael Hyatt. Those are the resources I use to implement these tools and these rituals, and those are the tools that really got me from being disabled to retiring my wife and having to this fun life that I get to live with my 5 girls and my wife and my son and all the people in my life. So I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.